Welcome back to the Perfect Lap Podcast. I'm Mark Jager. This is Mark Kilgore. He goes by Kilgore. I go by Jager. And today we have again with us John Hunter, SCCA Time Trials or Time Attack Manager. And we're going to be talking about the 2026 Time Attack season with the SCCA, including, exciting information for the West Coast? Maybe a national championship venue? You're going to have to stick around and find out. But John, let's get right into it. What do we got for this amazing 2026 season?
Yeah, we're going to be opening our first events registration here, I believe the 21st of November. Because we typically try to open them up 90 days before the event hits. And our first event, of course, is going to be Las Vegas again. Not on Valentine's Day this time. It's going to be the weekend after. So your significant others will be much happier this year. But yeah, the season's already almost here. It's crazy. It's been a wild ride since we had our Time Trials Nationals at Pit Race. I think a lot of people heard what went down.
There's a lot that has happened since then, John Hunter.
Yeah, it's I actually had the week that news came out was my vacation. So I had a slightly truncated, slightly abrupt, abbreviated vacation there. But it's been a wild ride. But I feel like we got a pretty darn good schedule for both sides of the country put together for this year, which I'm really, really excited about. And then we have, of course, the exciting news of a move from Time Trials Nationals, which was never a national championship. It was just our big event, so to speak, to what we're calling a Time Attack National Championship. So it's an actual SCCA championship, and everything that comes with that will be included. But
wait
on that one. Let's get to the.
I just want to say it. You just said it's a Time Attack National Championship. I want that to sink into the listeners. Time Attack National Championship with the SCCA. Okay, John, give it back to you. Go back.
All right. Well, let's start off with the coast. We'll call it. Well, let's go with East Series and West Series because they are going to be separate series. People are more than welcome to join on either one, obviously, or join in on both. It just requires quite a bit of travel if you're going to do both. Trust me, I'm going to know. But on the East side for the East Series, we have. Of course, we're going to start with Eagles Canyon. From there, we're going to go to Carolina Motorsport. We're going to go back to Pocono, and we're going to go back to Audubon. It is tracks we ran this last year. We did that for a reason. We wanted to get the schedule out really quickly. We wanted to make sure we were able to move on it. And we like those tracks a lot. They're really good tracks. I know last time we talked about Eagles Canyon, you both were kind of like, Eagles what? I'm telling you, keep sleeping on it. It's an amazing facility. It's an amazing track. More on that here shortly.
I was going to say, I have a feeling you're going to have a big turnout for that first event of the year.
I think more people
or on the east side, or for the East Championship.
Yeah, I think a few more people might show up on that one than had this previous year, but we had a really great turnout this last year too. So, really excited about the East Series. Our goal was, and I think we did a good job of this. I know some people probably feel a little left out in the center of the East, but our goal was to get the four corners. We wanted to have something in the upper Midwest. We want to have something down in the Southwest section. Then the Southeast and the Northeast. And that kind of gets us to Eagles Canyon, CMP, Pocono, and Audubon. So that was our goal. And then, of course, next year, we're going to try to move some things around. We'll talk about the goal of moving things around here a bit again. But yeah, really excited about what's going on in the East. And then we're going to go west again for the first time in a couple of years, actually. I think we've gone west a few times. We've gone to Thunderhill before. We've gone to the Ridge before. We've gone to Buttonwell before. And I mentioned those tracks for a very specific reason because we're going to go to all three of those on top of Vegas. So we have the West Series now, where we're going to be starting in Vegas. Then we're going to go to Thunderhill. We're going to go to the Ridge, and we're going to go to Buttonwillow. The last three are going to be for sure with GTA. They're going to be our partner in those three events. There is a rumor Jason's looking at possibly having GTA join us in Vegas. That's going to pump the brakes on that a little bit. That's not done yet. But there's some interest. And once again, Vegas is another one of those tracks that's kind of slept on. It's not a lot of elevation, doesn't look fancy. It's not sexy or anything like that, but it's a fun track and it's a good challenge. So really excited about the 2 series that we have that we built up for this year, and then the type of events we're looking to build. This last year, Time Trials Nationals, we brought in Superfly, which is a car show. It was kind of a test run. They brought a few cars out and they brought the party, right? The car showed up. The car show started in the mid-afternoon and then went into the evening. That DJ's going, we had lights, all sorts of stuff. So cool cars, music, everything like that. So give it a little bit more vibe, and give our drivers something to do once the track goes cold. So we're looking to do that at every event we can this year. And
That's a cool factor too. It brings a little extra to the party. I always want to say this because this is I'm gonna say it. This is my old man stepping out, and I always say, you know, I'm like, to be honest with you, like just I'm gonna give everyone some context. So, like the way it's always worked is guys start working on cars, crack open a few beers, maybe a little whiskey, and hanging out. And to me, that was always enough. But I know I'm an oddity in the sense that like I know a lot of other people would highly enjoy like music and like hanging out and giving them something to do. I know I'm weird. I don't, I don't care about any of those things. I just go for the cars and the racing and then, the hanging out with the people that, I enjoy. That's just me. But I very much appreciate that the organizers are looking to find ways to get more involvement and to get those people. I will say this. I always love anybody from a car show aspect coming to any of these events. And I just say that because it's always such a beautiful thing to see like car guys just in general and like getting together and talking and like whether you're a car show guy, autocross guy, road course, wheel to wheel, time attack, like all of those things all together. You just build together and then like you build the community as a whole, right? As long as no one's doing weird stuff in intersections, everything's all good.
you nailed it, and that's to me that's the biggest part is we're the Sports Car Club of America, SCCA, right? It's not really the Sports Competition Club of America, it's the car club. Like I don't know about you guys, but I love cars. Like that's my main love. The competition thing is something I also do, so I use cars as competition. But I love cars, so like having cool cars show up that I can also check out is fun for me. Like there's been a couple times where we've had a car show join an event where I didn't get to go check it out because I was too busy running the event, and I was really bummed because there's some rad cars over there I wanted to check out. But the other aspect of that is bringing new people to the venue to see what we're doing and checking out Time Attack and learn about Time Attack. And what I feel like and what I know has happened previously when we've done a car show as part of a Time Attack event, next year we go back, some of those people who came for the car show, whether they entered the car or came to as a spectator, we're now doing Time Attack with us. And it's, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I can do that with my car. It's like, yeah, you can do that with your car, man. It's,
Yeah.
we have a class that works for not highly modified. You don't need to bring, the swapped car with 2 wings on it, right? So there's a lot that goes on with adding that aspect to the event. And it's part of me is I want to give our drivers extra things to do, extra things to enjoy, whether they're going to do or not, whether they want to kick back in the lawn chair and drink a beer and watch everybody walk around. It's still great people watching, right?
Ain't that the truth?
Or you can go check out the cars, or you can check out the music. You have options. Whereas, otherwise you don't really have options. You might not know everybody in the group. It gives an opportunity to bring more people in, and be part of this thing. And to me, that's the cool aspect of it is just more cars, more people, spectators for watching you do Time Attack. That's the other thing. It's like, I know I've been in that situation where I've been on track and there's been people standing around watching me run. I'm like, that's just cool. So
That's
if people
awesome.
come
That's
into the
fun.
car show, they're going to check out the Time Attack going on. So people are going to be watching people driving. And that just adds another level of like, this feels pretty cool. This feels pretty
Yeah.
special.
Well, and I think like you just mentioned, right? So one of the things, and I don't know what it really is, but people seem to be more willing to go to and it's weird to me, but people are more willing to go to a car show than if I say, hey, I'm going to a race. They're like, yeah, no thanks. But if I go, oh, I'm going to go to a parking lot at a 7-Eleven and go to a car show, they're like, sure, I'll go to that. I don't know why, but that just, or maybe it's just like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you why, but it seems like that's a thing where people are more willing to go out to an event that is a car show. And so when you get that, and like you said, they're out there now. Next thing you know, they're able to look over, they're able to go watch at the track. You see that in a variety of ways. And I think, like you said, just bringing more people out there, spectating, watching, being a part of it, that's just a really awesome way to do it. So I very much appreciate, you guys making that effort, because I know, like all of these things, that means more time and energy from the organizer to have to put this together. Now I can't just say, hey, everybody, park wherever you want. It's going to be, okay, I have to cordon off this area. I have to get there early enough to set up cones and make sure because there's always going to be that guy that's like, well, this is where I always park. And he's going to move the cone and go park in there because that's what people do. And it's just how it is, and so it takes more time and energy from the organizer to be able to do those things. So I very much appreciate you guys taking the time to do those things and ensure that the events grow. And then you're continually trying to do that. So going back to it, so you said, man, my memory is terrible. So we're going to Vegas, obviously Button Willow, Thunder Hill, the Ridge. So that's a lot of West Coast. And I know GTA announced their schedule at the SDC event, SoCal Drivers Club event, Sunday. They just announced that as well, which is in parlay. So you guys are working those events together in harmony, and maybe even the Las Vegas event with JD and the guys from GTA. So that's very exciting, because did we sort out how that was going to work with the different groups and how we're gonna? Okay,
Yep.
tell us a little bit about that.
So yeah, we'll start off with Thunderhill because that's kind of the biggest one that's been built so far. Because Thunderhill obviously gives us lots of options. Because they have 2 different tracks. In fact, you can make it one big track if you wanted to, but we're not going to. But at the same time, when I say that, we are going to rent the whole facility on Saturday. So we've got the full 5 mile. We're going to have 2 tracks running at once on Saturday, and then on Sunday we're going to stick with the 3 mile and run the east side. So what it'll look like on Saturday at Thunder Hill is going to be, we'll have a track day, GTA, and we're going to have some spec racer Fords from the San Francisco region running all on the east side. So on the east side, you've got multiple opportunities to play. You get something to watch where you can watch some racing. You can watch some time attack if you're doing HPD. You can be in the time attack and watch some racing with the spec racer Fords. And then on the west track, we'll have the SCCA time attack going morning into early afternoon. And then we'll have the Lone Star Drift guys coming in, and they're going to be drifting on the west course. So we'll do time attack on the course first, and then the drifters will come in and do
As
their
it
thing on the
should
course.
be done.
Yes. So I love drifting. I love watching drifting, but I want to make sure that our drivers have a good, clean track to do their thing on. And I think our classing, everything fits West track a little bit better than GTA. So GTA is going to stay on both sides, the east side for both days, Saturday and Sunday, where we'll do Saturday on the west, but then on Sunday, we're going to flip it, and it's going to be SCCA time attack, GTA time attack, and then the spec racer Fords running on Sunday on the east side together. So it'll be a division of time type of thing. And JD and I've talked, it's basically however the participation shows up. Like if he needs a little bit more time, I'll give him a little bit more time. If I need a little bit more time, he'll give me a little bit more time. It's wherever the numbers dictate we need to go with the split of time. But we'll be dividing up. So when GT's running on track, it'll be GTA. When SCCA is running on track, it'll be SCCA. We are also, he and I are in talks of finding ways to allow people to double dip as well without having to pay full price for both. Because I really want to make that an option. I know there's some cars that run in GTA that can run in our classes, and we're going to have a series championship, and people might want to be involved in the series championship as well for us. So I want to make sure that we have an ability to make it happen for both groups. So that's part of it. But yeah,
I think that's a really important aspect, especially from a standpoint of, as we've talked about multiple times, you guys with the SCCA, Grid Life, Global Time Attack, there's been, this working together for a number of years now to try and correlate a lot of the classes to be closer together. So I feel like this is if there's ever a time to do it, this is really the time to kind of showcase that you can run in both classes or both groups. you can be really competitive in one group if that's what you've built your car to, but you can also generally slot into another class and still be fairly competitive. Okay, depending on who shows up, et cetera, right? That it may always be the case, but I would definitely say whenever, if I was going to be going to either the East Championship or the West, if I had the opportunity to run with both organizations, I would want to do that. So definitely encourage there for that opportunity to happen.
Yeah, it's just a matter of making sure that it's the fun thing workout where it's less expensive for the driver, but to do both, but at the same time we're covering our side of the track rental as well.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing I didn't talk about with Thunderhill is car show, bit of a party. And when we say the party, it's going to be music, but it's not about a concert for us. It's about the car show itself and adding vibe to the car show, and to the atmosphere a little bit. Because as we've talked a little bit, I'm a huge car nerd. I love awesome cars. Part of the reason I love Time Attack is because it allows you to build the car you love, that's your baby, that you're not going to have to worry about someone, rubbing and racing you if you take it to the track. But then you can see how much faster you can make it time over time, right? So I love cars. I love modifying cars. I love individualizing cars. So the car show aspect added on top of that hits to my heart, and I hope it hits to everybody else's heart. And I think it brings in spectators and it brings in new people that haven't seen Time Attack. They're going to check out Time Attack and see it and go, oh, maybe I can do this too, and then we can grow the sport. I think it's just another way to get more people on site to have a good time together, a bunch of car geeks hanging out, doing different versions of car nerd things, but all of us having a great time together and having a big party. So,
one of the things I love about the Time Attack, which Jaeger, you kind of hit on this a little bit, I'll piggyback off of it, is I enjoy being able as a time attacker to go see other examples of race cars, but that are much cleaner, right? Like, it's sort of, you can go look at other BMWs and you get to see like really clean, nice examples that are in show car form, and you can go and appreciate those cars. And then at the same time, all the people that are there for the show cars can also go see the race cars and see sort of function over form in some ways, right? So it's like you've got the same car, but you have two different groups trying to do two different things with them, and yet they can generally appreciate both sides of it, right? You can go see super nice, Nissan S15s, or whatever, on track or drifting, and then you can also go see them in the car show. Miatas, whatever. I mean, pick whatever car you want, but that's always one of the cool things is that it allows you to go see other cars that are, right, they have a different purpose, but yet you can still appreciate from a car perspective and just being a car enthusiast, their builds versus what I'm trying to do with my build.
All right, guys, make sure to go check out Whoosh Automotive, the sponsor of our Perfect Lap podcast. You guys got to check them out. They're going to have a Black Friday sale where you have the opportunity to get 15% off a set of wheels that you want to purchase, customized to anything you want it to be. Just use code PERFECTFRIDAY in the checkout, in the coupon, and guess what? You can save 15% off on a set of custom wheels made specifically for you for next season as you jump into the Time Attack season of 2026. Absolutely, man. And I don't know. I just, it's just cool to be able to go talk to people. Like just have interactions like that. That's just a big part of it, is just being able to go out and just talk to people. And I don't know. I always love it too when, those guys show up and start talking to you about your car and, hey, because the question always gets asked, right? So, how do you get on track? It's what do you have to do? And that's always the question that comes up. And then it's like, buckle your seatbelt, let's go, throw on this helmet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just my favorite part. Like I was at the track Saturday, and just talking to people, and it's like, oh, so what do I got to do? Put on a helmet, like,
Yeah,
let's go.
yeah.
So
What do I need to do to my car? What modifications should I do? I'm thinking about adding a turbo and maybe some coilovers and blah blah blah. Whoa. Nope. Let's hold on.
Yeah, my car's not ready for track yet. Get some brake pads, do the brake fluid, get some diesel tires on, or even just some whatever tires. Just show up.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
run.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So John, for so we got Vegas, we talked about Thunder Hill. How is, and this probably can go for both championships, but just sticking with the West Championship, how is that going to work overall in terms of, are you going to be crowning a West champion for those 4 events, a certain number of events you have to run, et cetera? Like, how's that sort of championship within itself work?
Yeah, so this year this last year was our first time doing a time attack series champion challenge. We called it time attack challenge series. But it was there was a overall series champion. So it wasn't the national championship, but it was a series champion. It's one for each class, and we did one on the East, and we'll do one for East and West this year. With the addition of Vegas, still working out how we want to play. It was going to be easier when it was 2 out of 3 before we had Vegas.
Sure.
Because Pacific Northwest, trust me, since I live there, I know that's a bit of a haul to go to any of the other tracks. But I'm leaning towards the 3 out of the 4 best points. And the way it worked is it's kind of like Formula One point scoring to some extent. If I remember correctly, I think we did 20 and it dropped down from there. But then there's opportunity to get bonus points, and the bonus points came from new track records. So if you not only did you win your class, but you also set new lap record, you'd get like an extra bonus point, that type of thing. So you can win, but you can also get extra points. So even since we do our events where it's a cumulative thing, we actually had a situation where someone got second place overall for the weekend, but still got the extra bonus point for setting a lap record because they had the faster time. So that it can happen. It's only happened once this last time, but it's just a cool little thing to add into the mix. And I like the idea of adding some of that little bit of a consistency. Like, it's not just one lap over the entire weekend. Like, you gotta get 2 laps in over 2 different days. So yeah, it'll be.
Are all of those events going to be 2-day events? No 3-day events, just 2 days, Saturday, Sunday events?
Yeah, the competition will all be 2-day events. Buttonwillow will stay the same way it is currently, where Friday will be a test day. We'll offer a test day as well, working right alongside with Jason. But then it'll be 2 days of competition, and for us it'll be, one day will count for one, and the next day will count for the net, and we'll put the 2 together. Of course, weather plays a role. We twist that and we manipulate that a little bit to make sure that everything works out okay. But yeah, so everything should be a 2-day event.
Okay, not to get us totally, but I just kind of want to mention this, which I think we talked about this somewhat. I think we talked about it with Laguna. And again, you're bringing it up, especially just with the way the SCCA runs. Saturday, you have your Saturday fast time, you have your Sunday fast time. Those are added together. That makes your total time, and that dictates who the winner is, or the placements. And I think that I don't know who came up with the idea, but we sort of I saw Tom O'Gorman talking about it, but I think it was sort of an interesting concept that deserves maybe a little bit of discussion, which is it in some ways it makes sense. There's some advantages if you were to take the Monday session, or I'm sorry, the morning sessions from Saturday, the morning sessions from Sunday, because those are generally, not always, but those are generally more environmentally the same in terms of climate, temperatures, etc. And then have this, I keep saying, gosh, Sunday, the afternoon sessions on Saturday and Sunday. Like, it's interesting. I was kind of like, I've never really thought about that, but in some ways that makes some sense. Because, if we go by normal time attack thinking, the morning sessions are always going to be your fastest. Of course, that's not always true, but in a perfect world, it's like, okay, I just need to run one session Saturday morning, one session Sunday morning, boom, done, kind of a deal. But this, it was just an interesting thought that I was like, that's somewhat interesting, and maybe deserves a little bit of discussion on whether or not that could actually work.
Yeah, for the 3-day event, I'm looking heavily at a version of that. For
Yeah,
our
that
regular
makes sense.
events, I like the idea, but I also like the idea, and tell me if I'm wrong here as a driver, because this is my thought process as a driver, that when someone does have the approach of, okay, they're going to run, they get their time in the morning, and then like, okay, I'm down. That means that next session has less cars in it. It's going to open opportunity to have less traffic where you can potentially get a better time. Now, obviously, we both know temperature on track goes up 10 degrees, 15 degrees. It's going to throw things off. You're not going to potentially be as fast. But if you're in learning mode,
Oh yeah, for
because
sure.
that's the thing is we get a lot of people who show up to the track and it's their first time at that track.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I'm not saying we're going to run one way or the other. Our typical way is to do a Saturday and Sunday, and I do like that. But we're not afraid to change things up to make it make sense, obviously, especially with weather comes into play. So we will continue to look at all options, and that is one of the things I've been thinking about. But definitely thinking about that for the 3-day event later in the year.
Hmm. For Button Willow, you guys thinking about running the new track, or is it just going to be on what is it, counterclockwise 13 or whatever?
Yep,
I don't know.
CW13.
Yeah, okay.
TW13. We're gonna have. I think we'll have a discussion here in a little bit about moving tracks around versus having a steady state track that you constantly go to. And I think there are certain tracks that have nailed that down, and you need to be steady state with them. Um, Bun Willow existed before the revamp of the SCCA Time Trial program. That's a known quantity. I feel like, in my heart, I think Thunder Hill West is also kind of getting to a point where it's almost like a Tsukuba of Northern California a little bit to some extent. The Ridge has only got the one Bowser, but it's becoming a thing. Um, so I think there are some tracks that are getting to a point where it's like when people ask you, when you live in a certain area and people ask you what you run for a lap time, they're expecting a certain track to hear it from.
Yeah.
So I think it was really important that we continue running CW13 because the other thing is we're going to run alongside GTA and that's their thing. That is their finale. That is their baby. That is their premiere event. We can talk about Super Lap Battle differently, but for me and for Jason, I think that's their baby. That's the one.
There's a
And
little bit of
so that needs
respect
to
that
be on
goes there.
CW13.
Yeah,
So
yeah. There's a little bit of respect that goes along with that. You want to respect those
yeah,
times and the history of it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
yes. So
I'll be super interested to see how that plays out, especially in the Button Willow area. I mean, I think with up north, going up there, and it being kind of like different tracks and stuff like that, and you'll have a little bit of overlap here and there. But when you're talking about like everyone just running CW13 and running that, I think that'll be kind of interesting to see how that all flies and rolls out. That'll be kind of cool.
yeah, I totally agree. And I'm excited to go there. We've been there before. I think the big thing for us with that is people are going to run. GTA has their group runs that event specifically for GTA, and I expect that to happen. I think where we come in is we offer some potential for people to do well without building a complete monster. And like when you step into GTA, you're going to need something pretty hefty, pretty built. Where we offer some opportunities to come in with a little less armor, so to speak, on the car, a little less weaponized. Um, so I think it's going to add a dimension to that event where you're going to see more cars, um, and the people that have a car that's not fully done yet or fully built yet can hang out and run and be competitive while also watching some of the top cars from Global Time Attack run at the same time. So I think I look at it this way. I think GTA is a professional program. That's professional ranks of Time Attack. We've always been like more the entry level, or obviously you can win championship with us, but it's more grassroots. So I think it's an opportunity for someone who's building towards building something for Global Time Attack. As they're building, they can continue bringing their car out and competing with us too. So I hope that makes sense, but I have a thought process there.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It does. And I think like anything else, right? Like competition breeds competition as well. So it's going to be it'll kind of probably be a little bit interesting and fun because you're going to have, guys maybe that entered as an SCCA guy, and then they look across the thing and they're looking at the GTA times and they're like, well, I could beat that guy. I mean, obviously I'm putting down a faster time, and so, and that's healthy. That's something that I like and that I think will be really interesting. So I don't know. I think that stuff's kind of pretty cool. So
Yeah. And there's people should not think of it as one way is better than the other. They're just different, right? And I think that most people who have run with the different organizations understand that and respect that. And so I just always, it annoys me a little bit when people be like, oh, the SCCA has too many classes, or Grid Life has too few classes, Global Time Attack has too few classes, you have to have the right car. And it's like, well, they're trying to do different things. That's okay. If they were all doing the same thing, then none of us would be happy, because then it's like, now they're all competing for the exact same thing, right? So you want different organizations having different goals, but I mean, I've seen people come in, and I've been at a Global Time Attack, Super Lap Battle or Grid Life, and they're sort of showing up like for the first time. They're fairly new to Time Attack, and they get a bit overwhelmed by sort of the intensity, right, that kind of comes with one of those organizations. Not to say that everybody, isn't. Everybody's still very nice, willing to share parts, willing to, help you out, willing to kind of, share data. Everyone is just as cool no matter what paddock you're in, but there is a little bit more intensity, and the builds, for the most part, tend to ramp up if you're in a Grid Life or Global Time Attack. But that's also why I tell people, like, SCCA is such a good starting point to kind of get your feet wet, especially because Grid Life and Global Time Attack don't have those entry-level classes, right? They don't have a sport. They definitely don't have a sport. Even their tuner, right? Enthusiast class kind of slots into where tuner is, and enthusiast is supposed to be the entry-level class for Global Time Attack. So, right? So it's like there is some overlap, but there's also some differentiation, and that's good, because you can go to a SCCA event. It's going to be, just in my opinion, it's going to be a little more chilled, relaxed, but also more structured. And that's one thing that I think is so good for new people coming in, that they can sort of get a little more structure in terms of understanding how the event runs. It also allows them to get a better feel for how they should be conducting themselves on track and how they should be interacting with the other drivers. And it also builds a rapport and gets people talking in the paddock and in grid. And I think that is something that is so beneficial no matter who you're running with. And so it's those sort of core concepts that I think SCCA does the best, in my opinion. And that's why it's such a good learning environment for someone who's just coming in versus jumping into, right, the intensity of competition with, some of the upper Grid Life or Global Time Attack levels. And that's why we like having these different organizations run their own way. That's why it's so beneficial.
Yeah, and I, I think everybody should run with everybody. I mean, I've run
Yeah.
Grid Life. I haven't run GTA. I've run with GTA, but I alongside them. I haven't been able to run one of their events. I was really hoping to this last year run the Ridge and actually compete on my own. Of course, I'd bring a knife to a gunfight with my car. But point aside, it's like it's still Time Attack. It's still an awesome organization. It's still an awesome group of people to hang out with. I was still wanting to show up and run and see what kind of time I can get and see how close I can get. Even with pared down car where I don't quite have what everybody else would have in the class. Like how close can how much can I make them sweat? Like,
Heck yeah.
put it on them a little bit. So yeah, I'm a big fan, and I think you hit the nail on the head where we want our classing to be somewhat similar, but obviously we can't have all classes being the same because then we're not doing ourselves any favors. We're not doing the participants any favors. That they would have more options potentially, but it to me, you've got to have some differentiation.
Yeah.
If every soda pop, whatever you want to call it, if everything was a Coke, it'd get boring, right? You got to have different
Yeah.
flavors out there. And that's one of the things I try to do is I try to make it when we've looked through the rules, when I've worked with the car classing committee and the time trails board and everything like that, we've looked at like, okay, we need to make a few of the classes kind of work a little bit better with GTA and a few of the classes work a little bit better with Grid Life. So that there is an area or a level that makes sense where the crossover happens. There's areas where it doesn't make sense, and so those we left alone. But we wanted to take, and all I did was I took a look at our rule set and went, this is really close to theirs. How can we tweak it just that little bit to make it a little bit closer?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
that's basically the way we approached it. And that was, the rule change a couple years back.
A simple little, maybe something to reflect and think about as you go into these events for next year. Just an idea for you and Jason. Maybe if you had like a, greater than equal to sign of like, because, just thinking out loud, like if you're in these classes, this would equal, because obviously for your guys' classes being more classes than GTAs, it'd be like this through this generally equals enthusiast. This through this generally equals street. This through this generally equals limited. Just an
I like
idea.
that idea. No, I like that idea.
Because that might entice. That might and that's where you get that like that cross pollination, those little things where people could look. Because I'm not gonna lie, as I sat here listening to you guys, I was also looking at the rule set and I was looking through and I'm like, where is my Mustang in the SCCA?
Max
And I'm
3,
like,
right?
and I'm like, yep. And I ended on Max 3 because I have arrow things that I like to screw around with. So it ends me at Max 3. And so I was like, okay, Max 3. Now I will say this. So interesting thing about looking at this, and when I say I go, okay, there's sport, there's tuner, there's max, and then limited. And from a person who thinks from a time attack standpoint, and mainly like a Grid Life GTA competitor standpoint, getting to max, I was like, wow, I feel like my car is like really far down this rule set. But then I started having to realize what the rule set was. It's a 5-liter engine on a super fat car. And so it's like, oh, and I want to use aero. So that puts me into that category because of the aero factors, right? So I was like, oh, that actually isn't as bad as I generally thought in the initial like thought process there. And I was like, oh, okay. So obviously I might be plotting and planning on finding ways to join into some SCCA fun. And so that's
do it, Jager, do it.
So I was just thinking about that and I was like, man, I wonder where, because I know I've looked before, but I forgot which one when I looked at it, which one it played into. But yeah, I will say, obviously, it is very easy to roll through the listings, and as your guys' website depicts, like start at the sport category. Does your car have this? Oh, I'm a 5-liter, so I need to keep going. Okay, tuner, I'm a 5-liter, but I have aero. Oh, keep going. Okay, now I'm in max. Oh, okay. So now, and then reading the fine print, making sure. Luckily for me, I have like all my interior and all the niceties and air conditioning and all the other good stuff. So, and it is still a very fat pig. So
I will say, Jaeger, I think you made a really good point there, and I would say, while we have John here, maybe we can run through that exercise very quickly. Generally, unlimited would be unlimited. Those would probably be fairly similar, right? That's going to be pretty similar across all the organizations.
One of the rules in unlimited is it must be driven by wheels.
Okay, yeah. Yes, yes. Yeah.
The power must be put down by tires.
Yeah.
So unlimited 2 is maximum of displacement of 3 liters.
Yeah. Now, what I don't know, and I always kind of get these confused, I don't know how the SCCA classifies like factory. I think you guys for the SCCA it has to be a road car. Like you can't have a cup car or
Oh,
like a
for,
GT
yeah,
kind of what's the word, like a homologated,
right.
right? You can't bring those into SCCA. I don't think.
Yeah, for unlimited, it has to be based on a production car.
Okay, right,
And
okay,
that's kind of loose. But the idea is like we've had people run ex NASCARs with us based
okay,
on a production car, right? It's tube
gotcha.
chassis, I understand that, but it's based on it's supposed
Okay,
to be like it looks like a production car.
okay.
Um
So
and then
is a like a BMW M4 GT4 full race car? That's
three to
eligible.
four race
Okay.
car.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Cup
Cool. So
cars. We've had
that's unlimited. Yeah.
what is it that ran a VR with us? It was a Lamborghini Trofeo
Trofeo.
Oh,
Yeah.
race car
Okay.
ran
yeah.
with us
Yeah. Yeah.
unlimited. I mean
So
it's
those are super or no, that's the GTX class, I think,
Yeah.
in Global Time Attack. Generally, that can be unlimited in Grid Life, and that's unlimited with you guys in SCCA.
yeah,
So
so like
again, but there's some correlation there.
yeah, so like people probably know Jimmy Route runs Grid Life. You guys obviously know
Oh
him. I
yeah.
think he runs unlimited too with us because he has the
Okay.
boosted small displacement motor. So when you take there's a multiplication factor for the turbo. Still ends up under 3 liters with the K series and the turbo on. I think it's a point 0.5 increase or whatever.
Gotcha.
Um, and then of course above that is just send it.
Unlimited. Yeah. Unlimited
Yeah,
one.
Okay. And then, so in terms of the SCCA classing, under unlimited, there is then max. And basically, you can think of max as if you've added aftermarket aero, if you've added wings, splitters, etc., that's where your car is going to fit.
but
So
there's more.
from, sure, yeah. But I'm just, so from a global time attack perspective, that's going to be your street and your limited. But limited, based on the rule set, if you're in limited and global time attack, you may fit into unlimited or you may fit into max. I think depending on your level of prep, I think that there's probably going to be a few rules that trip up some people in limited. I think you can run polycarbonate windows and some other things in limited that are going to push you to unlimited out of max. So there's going to be some small things, but if you run street, you're most likely going to slot nicely into max. Limited may be a little more tricky. You'd have to kind of look at your exact build.
Yeah, max. The way we look at max is basically it's where engine swaps, added force induction, that kind of thing happens. It's less about where sport and tuner are based on a car that comes with a motor that we can build a class around. Max is whatever motor you put in whatever car, where we care more about what the displacement, it's naturally aspirated or unnaturally aspirated, and then we look at weight and we play with those things and move them around. And we have the 5 classes that kind of go from, you know, lightweights with the smaller NA displacement swaps and or motors, that kind of thing, all the way up to Max 1, which has the big motors or the big boosted larger displacement motors and that kind of stuff. Max 3 is
Yeah.
kind of a weird one where we basically made it the pony car. It's, cars gotta be, like Mark said, it's gotta be a little heavier, and bigger displacement. Um, but there's a place for everybody to run. There's never promised parity. We try to put some stuff together to make it interesting, so you can see different kind of builds approaching each level of max, and see how someone's going to approach it and how they think they can take that time down. But there's a there's the promise of parity doesn't exist in max. We call max the your dream car built or bought. Um, however you want to show up, do your thing. Uh,
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. When I look at Max and I read the rules going through, like, because of how this again, and this is my philosophy on time attack in general. And I built my car for my enjoyment and to fulfill my needs and my desires. Wherever I slot in, I slot in. And I'm cool with going out, having fun. And, if you're last on the list, you're last on the list. It's because I built the car that I wanted to build and I didn't look at rules and make determinations to make my build.
right.
If I look at rules and build a car, well, if I was looking at these rules, I would take all the aero off my car and just run the car as is, and I would easily be able to get into a lower level of the categories. But that's not how I want my car to be.
Right.
And I think that's where some people need to, and I don't want to say get a grip, but it's like get at some realization of either build the car that you want to build and be in whatever category that fits, or look at the rules, scrutinize them extensively, and build that car.
Right.
Because you're either going, and I say you're either going to win or you're going to have a good time and building. And sometimes, guess what? Sometimes those go together.
Yep.
But I'm gonna tell you, not very, not as often as we'd hope. But it is one of those things. Like I just like aero stuff. I like being able to have a wing and have a splitter and have the look that I want on my car. Even though like it might not. I know my splitter's not close enough to the ground to actually be as beneficial as it needs to be, and all the little things. But I'm okay with that because a little bit of it is just my aesthetic that I want the car to be, and that's where I kind of go into the time attack world and I say, guess what? Time attack is also, it has that little bit of flair, that's just like I want my car to look as cool as I feel it is.
Right. No, I fully agree, and that's what I've always loved about it too, as a car guy, right? And it's one of those things. As someone who's highly competitive, I struggle with sometimes. Is sometimes I'm more worried about that number in front of my name than I am about, am I having a good time, and am I going to be the best version of me as a driver that I can be, or best version of me as a builder that I can be. And to me, that's time attack is like the coolest version of golf. Like, you're golfing, you're trying to beat your handicap, right? You're trying to beat your score, and you're going out with your buddies, and you want to beat your buddies too. But you're trying to be under par all the time. To me, time attack's kind of the same way. Is like you're going to beat your time. That's the first thing. Your first person you're competing with is yourself. Like, how good can I get at this? And what I love about classing, whether it's GTA's classing or our classing, is you got lots of different ways to attack that. You can either attack it by the car and make the car faster, and therefore you're faster, or you can focus as a driver, or you can do both. And it's all valid. And that's the thing I love about it. That's what brings me back to time attack. And it's, as an autocrosser, it's also a thing I love about time attack, is it's time based, and it lets me attack that. Like, and it gives me opportunities to do it in multiple different ways. So when I feel like I'm maximized as a driver, I'm like, what's that next mod? Let's go. Time to add aero to the car. Let's go. Let's see. Can I drop a second? And always setting that new goal out there and just constantly chasing it down. To me, that's just awesome. That's having fun with cars. Literally, that's the point, right?
Yep. Yep. That's right.
So
what are the let's kind of put a bow on the West Championship. What are the months that you'll be running? You said February for Las Vegas. Is that what kicks us off?
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be February 21st, 22nd. Then it's May 30, 31st for Thunderhill. Then it's August 22nd, 23rd for Ridge. And it's November 14th, 15th for Buttonwillow. So the other thing that's brilliant, even maybe a little bit better than the east side, on the west, is the spacing. It's a really constant. You got event, you got some downtime. You got an event, you got some downtime. So you got all the time to fix something if it went wrong, and or get lots of seat time and practice up and get ready to go. So you've got a full year there with 4 events to aim for, which I think came out really, really well. And all credit to Jason and Global Time Attack for bringing us in and having us hang out with them. I've worked with Jason, previous events, love working with him, love being part of GTA. And this schedule wouldn't be possible without him sharing some dates and then us working together to nail down another one or two. So big props to Jason and his crew. I'm looking forward to hanging out with them again. Every time I've worked with them, I've always had a really good time.
Hell yeah. I'm excited to see that schedule play out, and I'm gonna be the first to say it. I really am calling out all the West Coast guys to show up, show out, come to these events, and let's see records fall. The ridge has been, really, it has been growing in the last few years. I went to that racetrack. It was super awesome. It was, I will say this, the finals, just an event that I just always love and just cherish a little bit. But at the same time, I think the SCCA coming in there is going to put a little bit of revival on that, give some people the panache that they need to come back to time attack and have some classes that they can experience and have a good time in. So I think that's going to be a really big positive for time attack in general coming out to Buttonwillow. So I'm really excited about that. And obviously when you're going up north and not and going to Thunderhill, sorry. Going to Thunderhill, that is just going to be something that for global time, I don't know if they've ever gone there. So
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, it might be new for them.
I don't recall. If they've ever gone there. And so if they haven't, that's going to be a nice opportunity for somebody to be, records will 100% fall if that's the case. So it's going to be an opportunity galore across the board for a lot of different people. So I see that as a really good eye-opening experience for everybody on the West Coast to be able to go to events. Records are available. You have an opportunity. Be there. Be at the events, guys. Like I can't say it more than that. Like you got to show up so that these events can continue to happen. And I say that, and I'm not trying to downplay this. I'm not trying to like make this into something that it's not. But at the end of the day, and I say this because the West Coast has continually not shown up. And I say that from Grid Life's perspective, SCCA's perspective, and Global Time Attack's recent perspective. We are not showing up on the West Coast. And if I am an organizer and they continue to not show up, they will continue to stop having events. So I need you guys to understand, show up, get the cars out, get this thing done, have some fun. We all love it. So just get out there already.
You know what's also really cool is, like I said, we've been to every track that's on the schedule. So we have records at every track. And people can look those up at timetrials.scca.com. They can put in the track, they can put in the class it would be in, see what that record is, and they can either go, uh-oh, or they can go, oh, I got that. Either way,
I would question
lots
you
of
this.
opportunities.
How long has it been for those tracks?
Ridge was 21, 22, I think. They were all within the last 2 years or so.
I was gonna say, if anything's past, like, as you and me both know, if it's been past 5 years, all bets are off because the technology and everything in these cars have just shoots.
Exactly. No, I mean it's So there are records, there's opportunities on both sides, right? So
Absolutely.
come out, take them down. If you have a tuner for a car and you show up to the ridge, maybe I'll throw in something special if you can beat the time I run there. We'll see what you got.
I like it. I'm looking forward. I hope Jager gets out there, man. I want to have some episodes where Jager's talking about his weekend competing and getting back into it. I know you've been doing a lot of HPDE and driving stuff, but you got to get out there too, Jager. Come on.
Every once in a while, I get the hankering. Every once in a while, sometimes you're just watching and you're coaching's
Come
fun.
on, have fun, man.
Get that hankering around February and then around November, and that'll be it.
I was doing Mustang Drivers Club with Speed Ventures, and I was just trying to show support for track guys and like competitions as a whole. Going there, not trying to win, just trying to have fun. And there's always something about sitting in grid. You're getting ready to go out on track with a bunch of really fast guys, and you're sitting there and you're just like, get you that little thumping, and you're like, okay, I'm about to go do this.
Right?
It's just
such a good time.
Something you love. You can never shake it. Never.
Yeah.
So,
East Coast. Let's talk. So we got 4 events on the East Coast. Last
year,
the
East Series.
So East Series, the East Championship. Yep, thank you.
Nevada.
So I think at Autobahn, definitely at Pocono, and I think this was the case because I remember seeing Jackie Ding's videos Is there ever an episode that goes by that we don't mention Jackie Ding on this
Ain't that the truth?
podcast?
He's everywhere.
Uh,
He's a Roy
um,
Kent of Time Attack.
that's right.
If anybody watched Ted Lasso, anyways.
For those events, you guys ran different configurations. You guys looking to do that again this year? Multiple configurations over the weekend, and again, are those also going to be 2-day weekends as well? For each of the
Yeah.
4 events.
Yeah, any of the series challenges
Okay.
will be 2-day events, and when we have the opportunity to switch things up, we generally do. Like Pocono, we have an opportunity to run different variations of the layout, so we try to change that up. Autobahn, we ran south the entire time. We added
Okay.
north as part of Targa, which we'll be doing. Our goal is to have a Targa
Okay,
every one of the events on the east this year. And we've got
Let's
two of them nailed
detour a
down.
little bit to Targa. I know that's one of your loves. Kind of give the rundown on that. We've talked about it before, but
Yeah, Targa is an opportunity to run multiple tracks over multiple days. We thought it was going to be for our super users, people who just can't get enough track time. What we found is we had a lot of people that were we had those people, and we had people that were new, that were learning Time Attack. And generally what happens is they start on Wednesday, and you'll get 4 different tracks over the 4 days. So you have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning. And you'll do a track a day, and it's a pared down classing structure. Only a few classes. But the way you can build points is either by the times you run, or there's social media challenges, or other ways to get bonus points, that kind of thing. And it's just about having a good time with your friends. It's a 1 part car adventure, 1 part track time, 1 part just social hour. Like, everybody who's done it said it was the most fun, chill, exciting time that they've had ever in a car. So like, for the Texas Targa that we have built, that one's already been announced. We're gonna start at MSR Crescent, which is where we started this last year for the same Targa, because we got rained out and lightninged out, and we hardly got any track time there at that track. So we need to redo. We need to go back. Then we're gonna go to Hallett, and we're gonna hit Hallett in Oklahoma, on Thursday, on Thursday. And then, because we're not far enough away from Eagles Canyon yet, we're going to go to Hedge Hollow and hit Hedge Hollow on Friday morning. And then you have to drive back to Eagles Canyon, which is a little bit of a commute. And we'll wrap up on Saturday morning at Eagles Canyon. So you get 4 tracks. You get track time on each one. We're generally there no longer than half a day, but we do a variation of, like, you'll do a track sprint, which is like a hill climb on the track. You'll do lapping, and you'll do laps for time. And the cool thing is, it's when we're doing the laps for time, you'll get 2 sessions of 3 laps. And one of those sessions is your fastest out of the 3, and the other one is your cumulative of the 3. And
cool.
You can do this by yourself, or you can do this as a team, and you can bring a buddy along to drive with you, and you can choose which one's going to take which session, or you can take them both, however you want to do it. We don't care. But it's just an opportunity to hit multiple tracks in 1 week. I mean, and all for a really reasonable price. You're talking mid-thousand, to hit 4 different tracks. That's over 4 days. That's a pretty screaming deal.
So you get done on Saturday morning. Do you have the option to participate in the full Time Attack weekend? If
Yep.
you say, like, for Eagles Canyon, you could then just do the rest of the runs on Saturday and Sunday?
Yep, there'll be a discount to enter the Time Attack then at that point, and then you'd enter the Time Attack as a separate event this year. So
Nice.
if you do Target, you don't have to do Time Attack. You can do both, however you want to do it. But if you do the Target, we'll give you a discount on the Time Attack weekend to add on to it. So
Very cool. Very cool. All right. And what are sort of the dates for the East Championship?
So we have May 2nd and 3rd for Eagles Canyon, June 13th, 14th for Carolina Motorsport Park, July 16th or 18th, 19th for Pocono, and then August 1st and 2nd for Audubon. And then we head back to Texas in
what's going on there?
That is that national championship thing we teased earlier, or spoke very briefly about earlier in the podcast, where this is the first year that we're offering an SCCA National Championship for time attack. It will be at Eagles Canyon. It'll be August 22nd to 25th. The 22nd will be a test day like we ran at Pit Race this year, where those who have not had the opportunity to get a lot of track time at the track can come in for a little bit extra, get that practice day in. And then we'll run Friday, Saturday, Sunday as the national championship. And for the first time ever, we'll be crowning national champions in each one of our classes. And here's the thing, like everyone's
And
like,
that is
what's the difference?
that's totally separate from the series championship.
Yeah.
Again, just kind of want to make that clear. Totally separate. You're going to have series championship for the 4 rounds, 3 or 4 rounds for the East championship.
Yep.
Still trying to figure out West championship, and then national championship. Totally different. Not totally different, but a different trophy.
A different thing. It's more than a trophy. I mean, here's the thing. It's Time Trials Nationals was the thing, is our big event, but a national championship is inherently a whole nother level of thing. I tell you, I'm planning on driving. I'm going to work with Hayward. Like, I want to be on the ledger for the first national championship with SCCA, because like that's a thing.
Yeah,
it is.
You guys have been working towards that for many years, and I know that there's been a lot of people who've been asking, kind of wanting this to really put it on par with the solo national championship. You've got the runoffs with the club racing, and there was always sort of a feeling of like, SCCA doesn't care about time attack because they won't give us a national championship, right? Rightly or wrongly, right? But like, there's always sort of been that time attack's redheaded stepchild. You guys are giving it the full beans this year, and I'm happy to see that. I'm stoked to see that.
I'm really stoked too. We wanted the timing to be right, and part of that is maturity of the program. Part of that is maturity of the classing, or the rule structure, that kind of stuff. And it felt like we started talking. Maybe it was before last year, of like we're getting to that point where it's about time to flip that switch. The culture's there. We have people that kind of get it, and it's pervasive in the paddock. We wanted to make sure that, because we know when we introduce a championship, we introduce a little bit more serious business, right? But we want to keep the vibe that we have, that welcoming vibe, that we're all here having a good time vibe. We want that to remain. So that's the other part of it, is we wanted to make sure we were in that right spot, that once we introduced the championship, it elevated it versus doing anything else. And I think the timing's on par, or on point. And I'm really excited. It's going to be good. We can talk more about the schedule that Mark talked about, and Tom and I had a conversation about this at TT and a Pit Race. I've talked to a few people. We do a survey where we get feedback, and we do read those, and we do take them in, and we do think about those. I promise you, it's not a thank you for your input and we just throw it away. I always listen to people's opinions, because it matters to me. I love to hear people's opinions, because it helps shape what people actually want. I can, when Mark tells me something and Tom tells me something, and someone else tells me something, they're all saying the same thing. It might be important to listen. That's my opinion. But we are going to look at how we put the 3 days together for competition, because I do like the idea of giving incentive to continue to go out during the day. And I think Tom had a brilliant idea behind that. So we're looking at that pretty heavily. But the other thing I was going to mention when it comes to schedule is, I know moving from Pit Race to Texas, that was a big move. We'd planned to be back at Pit Race. And I just want to say, for the record, people reached out to me when the news came out that Pit Race was closing. They're like, "Oh, so sorry, man. Sorry to hear that about, your national championship." And I was like, we'll be fine. We'll find another track to run out. What I cared about was the region and the people that worked at the track. Region, because, that was where they autocrossed. That's where they did time attack. That's where they did road racing. That was huge hit for the region. Steel City's region, still feeling for them wholeheartedly. And then the staff of the track. That staff was amazing to work with. They were Dave Hoyce, the track manager, was just brilliant to work alongside with. The whole crew was top notch, A+ level people. So I was bummed for them massively when I heard the news. So I know it's a big move to move it to Texas. but I want to make sure that people, while they heard that portion, I think in the release that we put out, I think people might not have caught on to the fact that we don't plan to stay in Texas forever. Like, we plan to be there for a year, maybe two. We got to deal with the track. We're aiming for two, but then we want to move. We want to go to regions that have heavy involvement. That we want to go to tracks that people run for time attack consistently. And what I want actually is, if you have a place where you want us to go after Texas, start telling me now, so we can start working on it. Because we want to move it around. I think Hayward put it beautifully, and this is exactly what I was thinking, and he put it into words. We want to be able to bring the national championship to everybody's home track at some point. As long as the facilities work. And that's the big thing, is it's got to have enough room to fit everybody. It's got to have facilities that are nice enough to host a national championship event. But I like the idea of moving around to other people's home track and giving everybody a chance to have that home field advantage, so to speak. Because I know for myself that would be awesome, but I also like the idea of going into someone's home field and still taking it to them. You know what I mean? So to me, that's kind of cool. And then move it around a little bit, but doesn't mean we're not coming back to that place either. So if we're in Texas for 2 years and we move it to another location, doesn't mean we're not going back to Texas. It means it's just we're going to move it around and bounce around just a little bit. The one great thing about Texas is, if anybody on the west side of the Rockies wanted to participate in this national championship thing that we just announced, it's a little bit closer. I understand from my vantage point, it's a 30-hour drive one way. It's not exactly close, but it is closer than pit race. I can tell you that much. So it's more opportunity there. So while we're investing on the West Coast and building up there, if y'all taking a look at that, then take a look at Eagles Canyon too, because it's an opportunity to win a national championship. I think that's pretty rad.
Yeah, I actually like the concept of moving it around. And I say that because, as much as I love heritage and being like, this is the one place that we've been at this for billions of years, the places you're going to go are also places that aren't going to be places you never have been before, more than likely, right? Like, there's still going to be records that are already established and things that are already there. It's just going to be, when we do the national championship, it will be here at this venue. And then that's where it will play out. And I think that's something that people have to kind of recognize. It's not like you're throwing a dart at the wall and picking a random place that you've never been before and been like, and go, okay, we're going here for the very first time ever. So there's still going to be historics. There's still going to be an understanding. There's still going to be. It's just not going to be a situation to which you're going to continue to do the same race at the same place. And I actually think that's a really interesting and smart move for the organization as a whole. And I like the concept. I like thinking of it as the more participation, the more likely that we'll get closer to you. And I don't want to say it's a popularity contest, but it's a popularity contest. Like, if you go to Buttonwillow and you only get 50 people, but you go to Road Atlanta and 150 people show up, well, I hate to say it, but screw those guys at Buttonwillow, and we're taking it to Road Atlanta. So, and that's what we should be doing, and we should be rewarding those guys. And are you still going to go back to Buttonwillow and try to get those people more invigorated? Well, absolutely, but they're not going to get the national championship. That's not what you do. So, I actually really like that idea. I like the concept. I think that plays better in terms of the overall, like, getting the people that are actively involved. I like I do like the meeting in the middle of the U.S. to actually have that be easier for the most amount of people. I think that does make the most amount of sense. If only there was a track dead set in the middle of America that was epically amazing, but still not completely crazy to rent out. We'd all just go there all the time, right?
I think we've had that discussion before, which unfortunately it doesn't exist anymore. But I've heard multiple people talk about how much of a void Heartland and Topeka created, because how good that track was getting. Kind of, I mean, a similar sort of, that was what was that, 3-4 years ago? Maybe was it
Yeah,
early
I
COVID?
don't
I don't know.
even know. It's
Yeah, not a, but like that was sort of another sort of pit race kind of playing out, where just all of a sudden, poof, it's gone. It was an up and coming track, and I never was able to run it, but again, being near the SCCA headquarters, right? Kind of makes some
you have no idea.
sense.
You could walk there in 20 minutes from the
Wow, yeah,
headquarters.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it was not my home track, but it was close enough. Like back when I lived in Omaha, it was a 2.5 hour drive to get down there. I used to run it all the
yeah,
time. Great track,
yeah,
amazing facilities.
right,
Um, they used
right,
to have
yeah,
NHR drag racing there. So I mean,
yeah,
it wasn't like it wasn't built up for real
yeah,
stuff. So
yeah,
yeah, that would have been rad to have that as an option.
yeah, yeah.
I miss it.
I will say, agreeing with what Jaeger said, from a philosophical standpoint, I don't know if it would really matter all that much, but one, I do think there's a benefit to moving the time attack national championship around, which means that you can't build one horse for one course, right? At a coda for super lap battle, the horsepower cars are going to reign supreme. But if you then in 2 years' time were at CMP, right, or a smaller, tighter track, you've got to adjust for that. And so I think that sort of keeps the drivers and the cars. I think in some ways it keeps them engaged, because every year or 2 or 3, they get to go to a new course and they've got to think, okay, how do I need to tweak my car to get the best out of it for this course? You know, straightaways, gearing, whatever it is, depending on what class you're in and how much you can do. But I think that's a good thing. I think that means that it doesn't get stale, right? You're
Right.
going to constantly keep people engaged, and on their toes, so to speak. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward. What's going to be happening in 2027, John, or 2028, John Hunter? Where are we going to be? We need to know now.
You laugh, but like I mentioned earlier, we're already working on 2027. Like
All right.
that's part of the job. Like you need to, if you want to get tracks, you've got to be reaching out early and often. We've got our ear to the ground and we're poking and prodding as much as we can, trying to open some doors. So definitely want to
Cool.
move
Well,
some stuff around on the East series for
yeah.
next year. West
So
series, I like where we're at for 2 years.
cool. Give us an idea of what the actual, if what the actual weekend is going to look like for time trial, or for time attack national championship, in terms of, it's going to be 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, multiple configurations, same configuration. Obviously, you're going to have maybe 2 or 3 days that add up. Like what are we
Yep.
looking at here? So people can start
You know,
conspiring.
yeah, we are still looking at options, but the one really cool thing about Eagles Canyon that you can do is you can run both directions. So not saying that's what's going to happen, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be part of the deal. Which
Okay.
keeps it spicy. I like it.
Track sprints.
No,
I know you guys haven't done that in a couple years. Okay, no track sprints. All right.
it's there are people that love it. There are people that hate it. It's just in trying to get it in the weekend, the time crunch, the downtime for
Yeah.
people when they're not actually on track. It takes a flow. It seems to always kind of break the flow.
Yeah.
While I love track sprints, one thing I always loved about doing track sprints, I was generally with starter on one of the courses, and it was like my touch point to every driver there. Like I got to
Yeah.
talk to every driver because I got to do the starter, and I would say something to every driver. Give me an opportunity to like I could even give them a hard time if they're a friend, or I could like introduce myself if I've never met them before, give them encouragement if they're brand new, all that kind of stuff. So it was a really cool opportunity for me to have that touch point with every driver. So personally, I did always enjoy, offering the track sprint, but I also heard on the other side and even felt as a driver that just like you get in a rhythm and all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're down for majority of the
That's
day.
fair.
And it's just like I'd rather keep the flow and the feel and let people get in that rhythm. That was important. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's track sprints are great on regional level. We'll let them run them. But for the the Time Attack Series and the Time Attack National Championship, those will be straight lapping.
Okay. I just thought of a question, and this goes back really more towards for the West Championship. If there's been a lot of people who haven't run with SCCA before, for the year-long championship events, right? The 4 events that make up the West Championship and the East Championship. Are each of those events, do you guys stamp tires so for one, it's only for the national championship, or are you going to be doing that for the national championship? Okay, so for the national championship, you get 1 set of tires plus maybe a spare, and if you have an issue, but for the national championship, you will stamp tires.
So just so everybody knows, the rules revolve around 200 treadwear tires. If you're unlimited and you're in unlimited, you can run as many tires as you want.
Okay,
Whatever you
all
want to do there. When you're running a 200 treadwear class, it's 1 set of tires for the entirety of the event. The only differences or the only change up would be is if it rains. If you want to put on some rain tires, if we declared a rain event, obviously you can change tires. Or if you have damage. And what damage isn't is you showed up with bald tires that then corded. Come on now. But yeah, if you damage a tire, then we look at it, and there's been times where we've allowed to change 1 tire because that was a tire that got damaged, but the other 3 have to stay the same. And the idea there is cost creep. Like, it's already expensive to do time attack. The entry, the tires, the brake pads, the fuel, the travel, the hotel, all the things that go along with it, right? We don't need to add someone showing up with a brand new set of stickies every single session to the mix. So it's part of a let's keep it more attainable, let's keep it simpler, let's keep it easier for everybody. Do 1 set of tires. We were looking at things when we were pit race because we knew that track was pretty heavy, pretty hard on tires. We're considering some things, but Eagles is not. Eagles is pretty kind to tires from what we've seen so far. So we will, if we need to tweak things, there's a possibility of that, but we really believe in that sticking with 1 set of tires. Because that also becomes part of that cool consistency thing. Like, how do you approach each session? And I know, like, if you go out there as an HPD and you're trying to go 10 tenths every single lap for all 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is, yeah, you're probably going to burn a set of tires down. But everybody I know that's going there and trying to get fast laps usually knocks out 1, 2. And if they stay out there, they're going to attack a couple corners. They're going to back it down otherwise, and they're going to treat the tires a little bit, get a little bit of kindness to them. So 1 set of tires will work. I understand some of the bigger, heavy cars. It's a little harder sometimes, but we believe in that strategy or that rule for that reason of keeping it attainable for everybody and not making it a pockets situation.
Okay.
Makes sense
So
to me.
national championship 1 set, but the other events you can have a set of scrubs.
Well,
It's still sorry.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't get back to that. So every event
yeah.
that we run, the competition session, the moment competition starts, you're on that 1 set.
Okay.
I'm not
All
going to
right, gotcha.
bother. There's some honor system at the regular events. We don't stamp at the other events. At the national championship, we'll be stamping tires, but the other events, once we get competition, there's a bit of honor. Our coaches also kind of keep an eye on things. It becomes obvious when people start changing things up. But we don't. I'm not saying we'll stamp. So now, if people get us to a point where we need to start stamping at every event, we'll get there. But I would hope that our our participants can work the rules the correct way.
Yeah. And I guess in some ways that is, we've had this discussion on here before in terms of the organizers can only do so much. They only have so many resources. In some ways, it is up to the drivers and the entrants to help self-police themselves. And again, I would maybe, if there was, if I was a driver who was intent on competing and I was, trying to win, and the other cars in my class likely should be around me and in the impound, you might want to just check every so often that they're still on the same tires, right? You kind of have to have some self-policing, and you shouldn't get your feelings hurt if someone comes up and says, I'm not quite sure that your car is within the rules. just kind of want to let you know we all need to play by the same rules. We're not trying to be jerks, but we're trying to make sure it's fair for everybody. So
And just so everyone
don't
else
think that.
understands, what this really sounds like is, hey, are you cheating? No.
Or
That's
why
one
do
way to
you
approach it. That is
why
one
do
way
you-
to approach it.
why do your wheels look different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were running gold wheels, Kilgore. Why are these black?
Brake dust.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Nothing to see here. I'm gonna have to start pulling the F1. I'm gonna have a whole team of people standing around my car, like nothing to see here.
yeah. But no, it's one set of tires for the event in the competition session. So you can go and practice on a different set of tires and switch to the fresh ones for competition. I typically tell drivers try to do the whole event on one set of tires because depending on which tires you go out on for that practice session, of course, we usually try to grid by practice to make that first session where you're actually going for a time less messy when it comes to traffic. So if you're on consistent tires, that helps us get that nailed down. So that's part
So
of
what
that.
about Ultimate Track Car Challenge with Grassroots Motorsports?
They'll be joining us again.
Okay, fantastic.
They'll be running on Thursday like they did this year at pit race alongside the test day. What's really cool is we don't have to worry about sound out there, just like at pit race. Pit race had a sound limit, but wasn't an issue. It won't be an issue at Eagles Canyon. And the cool thing about Eagles Canyon is there's a lot of race teams that work out of there that have some really cool cars that will probably be joining us. And there's some really, really stout builds down that Texas area. There's some guy named Isolde. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him. He's in
Rings
that
a bell.
general area. He's got a Camaro or something.
It's like an old car, right?
It's just an old 60s Camaro,
Yeah.
But so they'll be joining us again this year. So it'll be Superfly will be there again. It'll be basically what it was at pit race with Ultimate Track Car Challenge, SCCA Time Attack, and then Superfly as well. So one big party. We got a bunch of things we're working on. Brad, the track manager, is already working on a few things. We're reaching out to the Chamber of Commerce. We got some things it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time.
When are we going to need to have you back on again? What, a few months, three or 4 months, we're going to need to,
Oh yeah.
John's just going to be he's going to be a recurring guest about every quarter. We're going to have him on. What are updates?
Hell
what
yeah,
are the new
dude.
stuff?
We
What
got
have we
to.
nailed down? I like it too. Because I want to see everybody out there, and I've got some vested interest, right? I'm an organizer. I want to have a full event to pay the rent and everything like that. But I like seeing full events to see people battling each other. Like I love watching people. We had a couple different classes this last year, Time Trials Nationals. I think were separated by hundredths over the course of 3 days.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just rad. That's and I love watching that go down. So if I'm not behind the wheel, I love watching other people put it on each other and go after each other and hug each other at the end or high five each other at the end, however you want to do it. But that level of competition and camaraderie is just cool to be around. So that's part of what gives me joy during these events as well. So
Hell yeah. Right. Well, John,
you're excited. See, you're going to come to Vegas. You're going to run a Max 3. You're going to show everybody what's up. You're going to have a good time.
Hell yeah. Well, John, always great having you on the show, man. Really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for updating us on the schedule, the West Coast announcements, and the National Championship announcements. All right, Kilgore, throwing it over to you, my man.
Yeah. John, what's your email? What is it? hwagner@scca.com. You guys can hit up John and just be sure and put Hayward in the intro. No, you can hit up John. His email is or what's the best way actually to
Two
get
different ways.
information?
You can do timetrials@scca.com. That'll go to our main one. I've got amazing admin. She just started with us last year. That's making all our things even better. because she's helping nail down some process and working with me, filling in the gaps that I have in myself. Or you can hit me at jhunter@scca.com. Either way, you'll get a response from us pretty quickly. And if you have any questions, classing wise, event wise, you want to give me feedback, whatever the case may be, down to hear it, down to help. Just want to see people come and have a good time. And thank you guys for having me on again. I always have a good time
Absolutely.
coming on the show with you guys. It's always a good conversation, and I feel like sometimes we have longer conversation even before we start, which I love. We're just catching up on things and learning things about each other and talking about cars and stuff like that. So really appreciate
Yes.
it.
Absolutely. We're always happy to have you on, and I think you may be probably the one we've had on the most, but it's always good because you guys have information coming out. You guys are active, and you're always building new things, which I think is exciting. And I, even just seeing over the last 3 to 4 years where you guys have sort of come in terms of building up to a time attack national championship, I think is pretty special, and I think people should be excited. I hope people are going to be excited, and I hope this gets people building their cars and thinking about what they need to do for this next year for 2026. You guys can also follow John Hunter personally on Instagram at General Chicanery if you want some Miata and some what is that, 80s Z, 90s Z content.
No, it's yeah. So
What is that?
the the Indy Miata currently might be switching it up. We'll see. Then I have a 1990 BMW E30.
Yep, yep.
She's the pretty one. She doesn't do any track duty. She just looks
Is
good.
it
Um,
anyway? Yep.
and then I have a 72 240Z
Okay, so
Datsun.
yeah.
That's the one I'm slowly building up. It's going to be track capable, but more back roads, canyon driving built. And that one has its own Instagram as well.
Oh wow.
I
Well, let
think
me
that's
say
the
this.
Wabi Z. But anyways,
Okay. All right. Wabi Z. All right. There you go. Yes. At the underscore wabasabi. I'll let you guys figure out how to spell that underscore Z.
look up the
Um,
definition of what's wabi-sabi, and you'll understand what the car
okay.
is
All
aimed
right.
at.
Well, I will say this, even though for people watching on YouTube, you can see I've got on a BMW jacket. And I do love your E30. That's where I got my start, but I would say I think the Z is the pretty car. I absolutely love that one, and I know it turns heads whenever you go out and drive it. No doubt about it. So,
That was a unicorn.
again, yeah, John Hunter, thank you for coming on. We hope you guys enjoy this episode. You guys can follow us on Instagram at Perfect Lap Podcasts. Check out our website at perfectlappodcast.com. You guys can email the show, maximumattack@perfectlappodcast.com. If you guys have any questions or if you have some content or individuals or people that you want us to have on the show to talk to them and see what they've got going on, we always enjoy hearing from you guys. I've actually been getting a couple DMs recently asking on Instagram, asking about getting involved in Time Attack, BMW questions. So we always enjoy conversing with all of you listeners out there. So thank you for reaching out. We love hearing from you. Um, let's see what else. That's really about it. So we hope you enjoyed this episode with John Hunter. For all you time attackers out there, keep going fast, take chances. We'll see you in the next one.